in the Icicle Canyon and Cascade Mountains. Kind of been out quite a bit lately, so my stuff has been really scattered. So I'm going to do a little video on kind of a basic bushcraft setup to get out there and start practicing and having fun in the woods. But realized once I started to lay stuff out, I have so much stuff dispersed that I'm actually missing one of the critical things, and that's my tarp, which is in my truck. So not all that organized, but we're going to go for it anyway. So truly, when I really wanted to get into bushcraft, it was I was really excited about knives in general. So I had a lot of knives, and I'd go out and find things to whittle, and that's kind of the basics of it, is just being outside, enjoying yourself. So if you're on a budget, you don't have enough money to buy a lot of this stuff, start with what you can. And and I'll definitely say that one of the most critical things is your bushcraft knife. This one is kind of the standard for getting into bushcraft. This is a Mora Companion. I've kind of modified it to have a neck hanger here. Got some jute twine wrapped around here, as well as a Ranger band, which is just an inner tube sliced. But this Mora is, they're super inexpensive. You can find them for almost 12 bucks online. If you're really wanting to get into it more, though, this is your most critical tool right here. The tool you're going to use the most. I would definitely invest most of my money on a knife. Meaning, I wouldn't probably get a Mora Companion. I like knives a lot, and I have tons and tons of them. So, of course, this is in my kit. It actually hangs from my rear view mirror of my truck, just in case I ever need a fixed blade. But it's, not the most burly knife in the world, that's for sure. But it does do great at little tasks, chopping food, whittling. Great knife to have around, that's for sure. Being that it is probably your #1 most important tool in your kit, I would invest in something nice. This is my new little toy here. Some Blind Horse Knives, Nest Muck style knife. It's called the Camp Muck. It's a little bit smaller knife. I usually have more traditional bushcraft style knives, but this one, I've been really eyeballing these mucks a lot, and wanted to kind of perfect brain tanning and stuff like that, and this seemed like a really good skinner. But not only that, it's just a cool shaped knife, and I wanted something different than what I was used to, something smaller that I could carry on my belt and maybe have my shirt covered up for when I am in the city, stuff like that. But anyway, a good fixed blade, full tang, just means it runs all the way through the handle. That thing's sturdy, and with something like that, you definitely have a good tool. A lot of these, they actually have a loop on here for a fire starter. Ferrocerium rod, which of course is another critical part of a kit, is starting fire. I do carry a lighter with me, a Bic. I have no idea where it is because I really don't use it unless it's just pouring rain and I can't get a fire going any other way. Part of bushcraft for me is learning these skills, these alternative ways of doing things. So starting a fire in some traditional way is part of the fun. So we'll go on to that because that's probably a critical part here. I do carry a big ferrocerium rod. It's usually in my little ditty bag or somewhere like that. This thing, it's super thick. It's probably got trillions of fires on it. But this is excellent to have around. I don't use them, to be honest with you. This is one of my last resorts of starting a fire. I've really been into more of trying to get bow drill down, hand drill, and those types of primitive methods. But if those fail, which they often do because of moisture content in the air and the wood, whatever it is, I carry this little fire kit here. This is my Altoid can with a little hole in it. I make char cloth. I'm not sure if I have a video on how to do that, but if I do, do check it out. Inside here, I carry a piece of fat wood, which is a piece of pine saturated with sap. Very good for igniting fires. Some birch bark, which as well starts fires really well. Some jute twine soaked in wax. A piece of quartz crystal, and my fire steel. And this is a really fun way to start fires. Rather than carrying around this new age style stuff or a lighter, you know, get your cloth, which is underneath the card in here. Try sparking your own fires with these. Just a much funner way. A lot of people that come camping with you seem to be impressed when you actually get it going, which is really easy once you get the hang of it. Might take you a few tries. I think in one of my videos I was really struggling to get one going, showing how to start a fire with it. But generally I can get it going with the first spark. So I carry a ranger band around that. I usually cover up the hole here so moisture doesn't get into my kit, but that hole is critical when you're making char cloth. So right there, this is my standard fire kit right there. You can find that piece of steel probably online. I'm sure eBay's got them. Just, you know, Google traditional flint and steel, and you should find either full kits or just that little piece of carbon steel there that can strike a spark off of a quartz or flint. So that's a very critical part of a kit for sure. And if not, at least one of these. So, what do I have next? I guess we'll keep on the fire status here. This I carry in my bag. This is a big piece of fat wood wrapped in jute twine. Jute twine kind of is a standard in my kit. I have it on almost everything. And it's a little bit like my paracord. If you can tell, I'm kind of an environmental type guy. I don't like leaving behind a bunch of synthetic stuff in the woods. So I try to have as least amount of impact as I can. And jute twine is natural, so you know, if I end up wrapping something up, leave some behind, it's just going to compost in. So that's cool. But not only that, it's really great for starting fires. So it's critical. I keep this around for when I really cannot get a fire going. A big fat piece of fat wood will definitely get that fire going. So if you can find some fat wood, wrap it up in some jute, throw it in your bag. It's a good piece of kit right there. And it's free for the most part, except for the jute, which is like $2 for 100 feet or something. There it is again. This is a little SE survival card, which is kind of funny. SE knives. If you buy a knife, they send out this card, and it has like tips on how to not look stupid or something like that. But anyway, I just wrapped it up and have these little hand-carved sewing needles from bamboo that I stuffed in there. It's not a critical piece of a kit at all. I'm just kind of showing you because it's what I pulled out of my bag. More or less, I was showing you that I was packing the jute. So, first aid, I would have to say, you know, I know that there's a 5 C's of a kit out there that I think Dave Canterbury came up with or something, but you know, for the most part, it's all about common sense. And for me, I think if I was carrying a knife, the second thing I'd want is a first aid kit because a knife is sharp. But you can also hurt yourself a lot of other ways out in the woods too. So I got super glue in there, band-aids, bandages. Super glue is freaking critical as all hell. You know, you really want to seal something up that won't stop bleeding. That's the way to do it. Plus, it comes in handy a trillion other ways. I carry lots of butterfly bandages because generally it's lacerations that I'm dealing with. Carry it in a little waterproof, crush-proof case, pelican case. I also carry tea tree oil with me. It's antiseptic, but it's good for lots and lots of things. A lot of times I'll have grapeseed extract, grapeseed extract. That's good for water and same type of stuff, but also if you're getting sick. Anyway, first aid kit. You can build your own first aid kit however you want. What I have isn't what you should have always, but I would definitely suggest having butterfly bandages in your kit because lacerations are a bitch. Okay, what's next? plus, you know, in primitive style and just learning, not even primitive, but bushcraft in general, you start to learn a lot of the plants that you can use for cuts, and I really try to utilize those as much as I can in traditional skills, but when I can't, or if it's too serious, it's really critical to have a first aid kit. Where I'm at in the Cascade Mountains, we've got rattlesnakes. I do carry a snake bite kit as well. I've heard they really don't do crap in it, but makes me feel better carrying it anyway. Next part of the kit for me, I carry a saw. This is a backhoe, however the heck you say it, saw. Just badass. Super thankful I have this. Trying to prep fires and about a trillion other things would just be a pain in the butt without it. Very, 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 very critical piece of kit for me. I could probably narrow this thing down really slim, and this would be in the top for sure. Silky makes some really, really nice ones. This one's really nice. I think they're less than $30. They fold up nice. They lock. Really nice saw to have. Takes a lot of work out of camping, that's for sure. On that same note, a nice hatchet, axe. Keep it sharper than most people's knives. Keep your knives sharper than most people's razors. That's the way we do it. I could whittle with this thing. I could do most anything I can with a knife with this. This could actually almost replace my knife, but I wouldn't ever want that to happen anyway. I'm not a super minimalist, that's for sure. I like to have cool kit. This is a big one for me. Splitting wood. I don't like to baton with my knives. I carry expensive knives. I'm not in survival mode. I'm in having fun mode. So I'm not going to beat the shit out of my very expensive knives for no reason. I split wood with an axe. I saw with a saw. These tools exist for a reason. So you don't have to get a super expensive. This is a Wetterlings. You could get any old plum axe that you find at a yard sale, fix it up, make sure it's sharp, you know, put a new handle on it. But having something that's easy to pack, somewhat light, is very critical. Unless you're just day camping, you don't need fires, all that jazz. But I also, you know, I like having this with me too when I'm out, because I don't really carry a firearm. And I do live in extreme bear cougar country, and that's why this is part of my kit as well. This is bear spray. It's not just pepper spray. This is from Frontiersman. There's another one out there that's really popular. I would not go with some cheap ass thing. These are only about $30, and for the most part, if I narrow down my kit entirely, I'd have a water bottle, this thing, and a knife, depending on where I was, because this probably is going to save your ass more than a gun would anyway. So I like this being part of my kit. I don't always carry it because I'm really not that fearful for the most part, but if I'm on a multi-day trip or camping, I always have this with me. On the knife thing, I've always got backups. There's probably more backups in this bag that I have with me. I've got backups in my pocket. I've got backups everywhere. I've got a lot of knives. And I try not to weigh myself down too much with them and just carry whatever I'm using for the moment. Right now, this is my knife for the moment. But I always have a folder clipped in my pocket. This is a Spyderco paramilitary. Doesn't have to be this one. It can be any one, of course, right? But make sure it's sturdy. For me, I like non-serrated edges. Something that I could baton with if I had to. Something I've been using folders with fine points because I've got other knives that don't have them, so this is good for carving, stuff like that if I need to get in somewhere that I can't. So, a nice folder. Here's another option for those folders. This was extremely popular. I generally have another one I alternate this with, which is the Victorinox Super Tinker, because it has scissors and I like having scissors with me. I guess the Huntsman also has the saw. You know, there's a billion of these, so this one is very popular, that's for sure. It has a can opener, all that jazz. So this is a great kind of utility tool to have with you. I also always carry a Leatherman with me, which you don't need to have all these things, but I carry a Leatherman Wave. It's got just about everything I would need. It's great for picking up pots, for everything with these pliers. I keep this thing very close to me all the time. So those are kind of on the cutting tools. You know, just picking stuff that you know is going to be helpful, that's sturdy, not cheap. Don't buy all the fancy gimmicky stuff. Get something that is going to work. And it can be inexpensive. I was going to bring this other folder out with me today that I got for less than $10. It's called a San Rin Mu or something like that. They're not sold in the US. They're made in China. They're made by the same manufacturer that makes a lot of Spyderco knives and Benchmade knives. And it's kind of a Sebenza knockoff. But it is probably one of the nicest folders I've seen in a long time. I've got a bunch of Spydercos. I've got a bunch of everything. And this $10 San Rin Mu, or whatever it's called, 710, is just freaking excellently built. It's strong, sturdy, it lines up straight. So it's 10 bucks, you know, 12 bucks. You could buy a used hatchet somewhere for 4 bucks, probably at a yard sale. Okay, let's get off that topic. Water, man, you definitely have to have water, right? So, a lot of people carry these military canteens. I'm not a super big fan. I don't like drinking out of plastic. But one thing I do really like about them is that they have a nice, you know, belt attachment with them. And inside of that same case, they got a cup that slides over that you can boil water in. And if you wanted to, they've got another little stove that slides over that too. So it's like a whole kit in one. And I think that's why they're so popular. But, you know, I'm really not okay with BPAs and other plastics leaching into my water. I'm sure it's a great survival tool, but I'm not surviving. I'm thriving out here. I like to have clear, purified water all the time. And I like to, you know, drink out of good things. So I carry a bottle like this with a carabiner. I carry a Cadigan filter. I like to drink clean water. I don't like to boil water. It's freaking disgusting to drink warm water for the most part, but if I have to, we'll get on to this. This is kind of my everything mess kit. Usually keep some dehydrated soup in here. Right now it's in my bag right here because I was just using this thing. It's called the Billy Pot. It's nice because you can hang it off a pot hook. You can do soup in it. You can do water in it. You know, I cooked all kinds of stuff in it. I do carry, you know, the inside. It comes with an inside here. You know, whatever you want to carry for boiling water, cooking food. Just some container to make something in, boil water in, make stew, any kind of container. So that's a good piece of kit, critical piece of kit. Even out for the day. Getting hungry, I've been out here for a little bit. I'll probably make some soup or something, and this is the way to do it. So, here we go. That's a critical piece of kit. I carry a compass always. I mean, I carry so much stuff, but I just pulled out some things I suggest. Compass is nice because you definitely can get twisted about in the woods, and unless you know how to really read your environment to figure out the directions, this is super helpful. When you start out, figure out where the hell you're going, carry this with you, and you know how you're getting back. You know, these things, you can get them for really inexpensive, $8 maybe for a decent one. And, you know, you can go all elite and spend hundreds of dollars on a really nice one. But anyway, some way to know your directions. What's that bring me down to? Gorilla tape. Here I am talking about not liking to leave things behind. I don't use this often at all. I mean, it's been wrapped up since I bought it. It is so nice to have, though, when you need it. Gorilla tape, for sure, is a useful piece of kit. Try to find ways to not use it, though. Different ways of binding things, using jute, whatever it is. And I guess to go along with this kit, you know, if you're going to be out kind of chilling, out for the night, you want something to stay in. I honestly am a fan of tents. because I have dogs and they're very small and they look like cougar bait. So when I sleep at night, I like to have my dogs in the tent with me. I know a lot of people in bushcraft are really like super into the hammock deal. I've got one. I carry it in my kit with me just in case I want to chill and relax. This Grand Trunk hammock is super inexpensive. I can't remember the price, but it was brand new for maybe 20 bucks, 30 bucks, something like that. Critical piece of kit? No, not at all. But nice to have for sure. Goes with the tarp. Hang the tarp up for shelter. Hang this thing up and you can totally relax forever. Makes a nice chair as well, with somewhat of a backrest if you're just sitting in it. So that's one reason I like to have it. You can set up a tripod chair with it. So that's very cool. Paracord. Always have paracord. Forgot to lay it out. I've got so much paracord. I've probably got paracord in my pockets. Got paracord everywhere. I don't use it all the time. I try to use jute wherever possible, just because I think it's more environmentally friendly. What else do we have here for a critical piece of kit? You know, I think that's kind of it. I've got my bags packed with stuff. Cups, gloves, snacks, first aid stuff, headlamps, you name it. But really, you know, if you're just kind of heading out looking for some basic stuff, get yourself a container for making food, get yourself something for carrying water, a knife, saw, hatchet, some sort of nice fire kit, first aid kit. That'll probably do it for you, you know, to get you going. Make sure, you know, if you're going to spend some money on the knife first. You can carry water and almost anything. You know, I mean, geez, having a very quality knife with you is the one thing that I would suggest to spend money on. You know, the rest of the stuff you could almost find at yard sales. You can find old tools, old saws, old hatchets, old everything. But make sure you have a good knife with you. Alright, blessings. I think that's kind of it. Thanks for watching. Comment, subscribe, like. Please don't troll. Bless.
And as we soar through this vast outer space, we realize we're not the only ones in this place.